while Althez sat at the helm of the Zyvra, her fingers tracing the soft, flickering symbols on the console in front of her. The dark expanse of space stretched out before her, a vast, endless void filled with galaxies, stars, and mysteries. As a scholar of the Zyran race, she had spent decades unraveling the universe's secrets, but today, she faced something far beyond the boundaries of her understanding. The anomaly had been detected a standard week ago, but its origins remained unclear. At first, it had seemed like another ordinary signal, one of the many that the Zyrans collected as part of their deep space monitoring system. But this signal, it was different. There was something in the frequency, something in the undertone of the pattern that unsettled her, an unshakable sense of wrongness. Well, Althez, came the voice of her second-in-command, Tezhel, a towering figure of quiet strength. His voice was low, but it carried a tone of urgent curiosity. The coordinates are confirmed. We are approaching the source. Well, Althez nodded, her sharp, multifaceted eyes narrowing in concentration. The Zyvra slipped silently through the stars, its sleek, silvery hull blending with the cosmos as it approached the heart of the signal. The closer they got, the heavier the air seemed. The vessel hummed softly under her command, yet something in the depths of her mind tingled with dread. The Zyrans had seen many things in their long, storied history. They had encountered the shattered remnants of ancient civilizations, the hollowed-out bones of dead planets, and the vast, terrifying yawns of collapsed stars. But this was something different. This wasn't the usual emptiness or decay of the cosmos. This was something alive, yet devoid of any clear presence. "Captain, we found something," Tezhel reported, breaking her train of thought. The large monitor in front of them flickered, revealing a grainy image of a ship, an ancient vessel, its design utterly unfamiliar. It was a hulking mass of dark metal, slowly drifting in the void, as if abandoned long ago by its creators. Altez's eyes narrowed even further, her instincts flaring with a primal recognition. This ship, it didn't belong in this sector. It looked far older than any species they knew, its surfaces etched with strange symbols that seemed to pulse faintly, almost as though the ship itself was watching them. "Activate the probe," Althez ordered. Tezhel nodded, and within moments a sleek, small drone shot from the Zyvra, its sensors focused on the derelict ship. The drone zipped through space, its soft hum breaking the eerie silence of the cosmos. As it neared the strange craft, Altez's heart skipped a beat. An unnerving signal flickered in her mind, the same unsettling presence she had felt when they first detected the anomaly. It was as if the ship knew they were there. "The ship is uninhabited," Tezhel's voice broke through the tension. "But its systems are active to some degree. The beacon it's transmitting is not a distress signal. It's more like..." "Like what?" Althez interrupted, feeling the pressure building in her chest. "Like a warning?" Tezhel hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, a warning, but not in any language we know. This is not like anything we've encountered before." Altez's mind raced as she reviewed the data coming in from the probe. The beacon was strange, almost incomprehensible. It pulsed with a rhythmic pattern, its signal carrying an undercurrent of raw fear. There were no words, no directives, only an overwhelming sense of dread. "Prepare to board," Althez said, her voice now calm but firm, masking the rising unease inside her. "We'll investigate. Send a full team. Whatever this is, it's important." As she stood and made her way to the boarding bay, a sense of unease settled over her like a heavy cloak. The Zyvra's airlock hissed open, and a team of Zyran scientists, engineers, and security officers filed out, their weapons at the ready. The darkened interior of the alien ship loomed ahead, an ominous silhouette in the cold vacuum of space. The crew members were silent as they approached the derelict ship, their minds flooded with a strange, chilling sensation, like stepping into the lair of something unknowable. When they finally reached the entrance, Althez paused, her breath catching in her throat. The ship's outer surface was adorned with symbols that seemed to shift and change as they stared at them, as if they were alive. "This is wrong," one of the engineers whispered, her voice trembling. This ship should not be here. While Althez nodded, her mind spinning with the implications. This was no ordinary derelict, and it wasn't just a ship, it was a message. But who or what was the message for? As the team entered the ship, the door creaked open with a slow, eerie sound. The air inside was stale, and the faint glow of malfunctioning lights illuminated walls covered in alien inscriptions. The crew's scanners beeped frantically, picking up strange readings that made no sense. While Althez moved forward, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew deep down that they were not alone. Whatever this was, whatever had left this ship, it had been waiting for them. And the real horror, what truly terrified her, was the chilling certainty that they would never be able to leave the same way they came in. This chapter sets the tone for a dark, atmospheric HFY story, focusing on the unsettling discovery of an ancient human artifact that begins to unravel the mystery of why humanity might be considered a cosmic horror. It establishes a growing sense of dread and curiosity, driving the narrative forward. The Zyvra drifted back into the black void, the crew unervingly silent as they left the derelict ship behind. The air on board was thick with unease. Despite their best efforts, no one had been able to make sense of what they had found. The human ship, seemingly lifeless and abandoned, had contained nothing more than cryptic messages and symbols that defied all analysis. It was as if the ship itself had been a warning. But from whom? And why was it placed there, hidden in the farthest reaches of the galaxy? Althez leaned over the command console, her brow furrowed in thought. The beacon, she murmured, staring at the readouts. It's still active, and it's growing. The frequency had been weak at first, but now it was intensifying, like a pulse that echoed across the stars. We should report back to the council, Tezhel suggested, his deep voice breaking the silence. This is beyond our scope. While Althez didn't respond immediately, her eyes scanned the readouts one more time. There was something about the signal, something so deeply unsettling, that she could not ignore. The pulse was a pattern, yes, but it was alive. A warning, or perhaps a call. Before she could speak, the comms system crackled to life, a sharp beep cutting through the tension in the air. The voice that came through the static was strange, unfamiliar. This is Captain Reyes of the Solarius. We have arrived to investigate. The crew froze. Alelthez's eyes widened as the voice echoed in her mind. Humans. Captain Reyes, while Althez responded slowly, forcing calm into her voice. You are far from your known space. What is your mission here? There was a long pause before Reyes spoke again, the voice calm, but unmistakably confident. We're explorers. We've been following the anomaly you've detected. We have our own reasons for being here. While Althez' mind raced, she had heard of humans, their rise from near extinction, their incredible adaptability, and their growing presence in space. But no Zyran had ever spoken to one directly. She had no idea what to expect. Why were you not detected before? Tezhel asked sharply. Your ship is not registered with any galactic council. Humanity doesn't always follow the rules, Reyes answered cryptically. We do what we must to survive. And we need answers just like you. While Althez exchanged a glance with Tezhel, there was no doubt now. The humans had come in response to the signal just as they had. But why? What did they know that they weren't sharing? Captain Reyes, while Althez began, her voice steady. This signal is unlike anything we've encountered. We have uncovered an ancient artifact of unknown origin. It is a message, Reyes interrupted, her tone suddenly dark. Yes, we've been receiving the same signal for years now. We had to find out what it meant. While Althez felt a chill creep down her spine. The message? The same signal? You've been receiving it too? Yes, Reyes confirmed. And we're not the only ones. But whatever it is, it's not from a race we know. It's wrong. There's something about it that feels... She trailed off as if struggling to find the words. Familiar. Almost like a memory. While Althez stood still, her mind reeling. The humans had been tracking the signal all this time, and now they were here. This was no coincidence. They had been waiting for this moment, just as the Zyrans had. A low rumble filled the Zyvra's hull, and the distant stars seemed to flicker ominously. As the Solarius appeared on the radar, its dark silhouette looming in the distance, while Althez felt something stir deep inside her. A primal sense of fear that she could not explain. The humans were here, and whatever message they had uncovered was far more dangerous than she could ever have imagined. This chapter shifts the focus to the human presence in the story, introducing Captain Reyes and revealing that humans are not just a passive force. They are aware of the same anomaly and have been investigating it for years. It builds tension by showing how closely the humans are connected to the mysterious signal, setting the stage for a confrontation where the true nature of humanity will begin to unfold. The Zyvra and Solarius hung in the black void, side by side, their sleek bodies barely visible against the backdrop of distant stars. The two ships were eerily still, suspended in space like silent witnesses to an ancient, cosmic riddle. The crew of the Zyvra was gathered in the conference room, the tension palpable in the air. While Althez sat at the head of the table, her eyes locked on the holographic display in front of her. It projected an image of the derelict ship, still transmitting that same unsettling pulse. Beside it, the coordinates were marked, indicating the source of the signal. The beacon was now resonating at a much higher frequency, its pulse almost alive. The humans have been tracking this signal for years, while Althez said, her voice cold, deliberate. But the question remains, why? What was it about this signal that drew them here? Captain Reyes, seated at the far end of the table, leaned forward. Her expression was hard to read, a mix of curiosity and something darker, something more ancient in her eyes. We didn't choose to follow the signal. It chose us. At first, we thought it was just a quirk of some distant galaxy, a natural occurrence. But then we realized it was reaching out to us. Something was trying to tell us something, while Elthez's mind raced. Her heart, usually steady in the face of scientific mystery, now fluttered with an unfamiliar dread. The human's words had struck a chord with her. It was reaching out to them. Tell us what? Tezhel asked, his voice low, skeptical. Reyes paused, her eyes narrowing. I don't know yet, but I believe it's not just a message from a lost civilization. What we're dealing with is something far older than any species we've encountered. Something that existed before time itself. There was a long silence as the implications of Reyes' words settled over the room. Something before time. It was a concept so foreign, so terrifying, that while Althez almost couldn't grasp it. And yet, the more she thought about it, the more it felt like an inevitable truth. The ship we found, while Althez said slowly, was human in design, but its origin is untraceable. How can that be? Reyes met her gaze, her expression grave. You're not the only ones who have been getting these signals. We've had them for years. From deep in the fringes of space, from places that shouldn't exist. At first, we thought it was just another anomaly. But then we began to find evidence. What kind of evidence? Althez asked, her voice tinged with suspicion. Reyes' fingers drummed lightly on the table. Artifacts, fragments of technology that don't belong. We thought they were from other species at first, but as we analyzed them, we discovered something disturbing. They all point to one source, something, someone, that existed far before the first stars were born. While Althez felt her chest tighten as the realization began to settle in. Are you saying that these artifacts are human in origin? Reyes looked at her with a grave expression, her voice barely above a whisper. Not just human. All of us. The signal, the ship, the artifacts, they're all pointing to one conclusion. Humanity wasn't born the way we thought. We didn't evolve on Earth. We were placed there, watched there, and we were meant to awaken when the time was right. While Althez stood suddenly, her mind reeling as the words echoed in her head. You're saying humans were created? But by who? And why? Reyes met her eyes, her face taut with the weight of an ancient secret. By them, the ones who were here before us. And they're coming back. The message we've been receiving. It's a warning, but it's also a summons. A cold shiver ran down Waelelthe's spine as she processed what Reyes had just revealed. The The pulse, the signal, it wasn't just a call to action. It was something far more profound, something that suggested a connection between humanity and forces far beyond the comprehension of any known species. They're not just coming back, Waelthes murmured, barely audible. They've never left. Reyes nodded, her eyes distant. No, they've been waiting, watching, and we, humans, were always meant to be their heralds. The silence in the room was deafening. Waelthes could feel the weight of the revelation settle around her like a suffocating fog. The human race, so young in comparison to the other civilizations, was far more than it seemed. They were a link, the last thread in a vast cosmic tapestry woven by beings from a time before time itself. The horror that Waelthes now understood was not just that humanity was connected to something ancient. It was that humanity itself, humans, were the heralds of an unimaginable cosmic force. And that force had been waiting for them to awaken. And it was coming. This chapter deepens the mystery and horror surrounding the human's role in the universe. It reveals the unsettling truth. Humanity was not merely an evolutionary product of Earth, but a creation designed by an ancient, cosmic force. One that has been watching and waiting for humanity's awakening. The horror is not just in the signal, but in the realization that humanity has always been part of something much larger, darker, and far more dangerous than they ever realized. The tension in the room was palpable. The revelation that humanity was not only a part of the signal but also the heralds of an ancient, cosmic force had shaken everyone to their core. The Zyvra's crew, normally composed and logical, now sat in stunned silence. The humans, Reyes and her crew, hadn't flinched when they revealed the truth, but to the Zyrans, the idea was nothing short of catastrophic. Waelthes stood near the viewport, staring out at the endless expanse of space, her mind still reeling. The stars were distant, cold, and indifferent, but to her, they now seemed like ominous witnesses to something far greater. The humans were not merely explorers, they were the vessels of an awakening, the precursors to something unimaginable. How long until they arrive? Tezhal's voice broke through her thoughts, rough with a hint of panic. He, too, was struggling to process the weight of the discovery. The idea of an ancient race, hidden away in the far reaches of space, returning to reclaim what they had left behind. It was something beyond even their extensive understanding. Reyes met his gaze, her expression unyielding. The signal's frequency is intensifying. It's calling them. And they're coming. She paused, allowing the weight of her words to settle in. How soon, I can't say. But we have very little time. Waelthes turned away from the viewport, her face pale but composed. We need to prepare, she said, her voice firm but laced with a tremor. We cannot face this alone. Reyes nodded. You're right. We need to work together. The knowledge we've gained from the artifacts points to a location, some kind of interdimensional nexus. That's where they'll come through. And when they do, nothing in this galaxy will be able to stop them. Interdimensional, Waelthes repeated, her voice thick with disbelief. You're suggesting that they will come from outside this universe? Reyes' eyes darkened. Yes, they were never part of our universe, not fully. They existed before time itself, in a place that defies our understanding of reality. That's why the signal is so alien. It's calling them back into our reality. Waelthes paced the room, trying to grasp the enormity of the situation. The Zyrans had explored galaxies, discovered ancient ruins, and faced countless dangers. But this was beyond even their wildest nightmares. A race that had existed outside the fabric of the universe, waiting to return through the very fabric of spacetime itself. Then what are we supposed to do? Tezhal asked, his voice sharp with frustration. How do we stop something that exists beyond everything we understand? Reyes stood slowly, her expression resolute. We can't stop them. Not entirely. But we can prepare. We can fight. We've been studying them, gathering what we can. We need to unite the races in this galaxy. The threat is greater than anything we've faced before. Waelthes met her eyes. For the first time, she saw not just a human, but a leader. A leader who understood that survival wasn't guaranteed, but it was worth fighting for. The message, Yalthez said softly. It's not just a warning or a summons. It's a signal, isn't it? A beacon guiding them back to this reality. If we destroy it, it won't be enough, Reyes interrupted, shaking her head. The signal is only one part of their return. But if we can get to the nexus, the source where all this is centered, we might be able to delay them long enough for the galaxy to prepare. The silence that followed was heavy, each of them processing the grave reality of their situation. They were not fighting against a conqueror or a marauding empire. They were facing something far more terrifying. They were facing the return of an ancient power that transcended time and space itself. Yalthez's gaze hardened. We will unite the galaxy, then. If humanity is the key to this, then we will stand with you. Together we may have a chance. Reyes nodded solemnly. We need to move fast. We have to find that nexus, before it's too late. As the Zyvra and Solarius prepared to set course for the unknown coordinates, Yalthez stood beside Reyes, staring at the stars. The future was uncertain, the odds nearly impossible, but the choice was clear. They had to fight. They had to stand against the dark return of an ancient force, no matter what it took. Because humanity wasn't just a herald. They were the last hope the galaxy had against the ultimate terror. In this chapter, the alliance between the Zyrans and humans is solidified as they prepare for the return of the ancient beings who once created humanity. The concept of the Nexus becomes central to the plot, and the narrative shifts toward a sense of urgency and unity. The focus is on the growing realization that there may be no way to stop these beings, but humanity and the Zyrans must act together to delay their return and give the galaxy a fighting chance.